Welcome, everyone, to Breakout Racing League tier reveal for Season 8. And I cannot wait. I'm Hey Hatcher, joined alongside by Bois for this event. And this is going to be something we have been waiting for over the offseason. It's been quite a kind of a short offseason in relation to the other seasons we've had in the past. But now we're going to get back rolling again. Are you ready to be it? I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, it was a nice little break after season 7. But yeah, let's get going for season 8.
Let's get going indeed. So, obviously, last season, season 7, was one of the more chaotic and one of the most dramatic seasons in recent history that I can definitely remember myself in my, well, not so long history here in the Breakout Racing League, but it's definitely been one that was filled with drama, with chaos, with action, and with excitement all throughout the seasons of our 4 equal tiers and our realistic and the Formula 2 tier. So let's take a look at the champions from those tiers of a season ago. You can see here, right in front of you, Alfa Romeo. That was an absolutely dominant equal performance they had, winning 3 of the 4 tier championships in the constructors, and Mercedes being the only one that split them, which, by the way, every equal tier was won by a single constructor. For example, Alfa Romeo had Phantom, who was drove the Alfa Romeo. Mercedes had Gary on their team, Alfa Romeo Sweller, and Billy with Alfa Romeo as well in Tier 1. So it looks like, from that equal tier alone, you have to be on that Constructors' Championship winning team to have a shot at the drivers. Would you think that's probably something to factor in for next season?
I think that's one thing to factor in, but also it helps to have 2 really good balanced teammates. I mean, I worked with basically both Alphas in Tier 4 and Tier 1, and if one had their issues or whatever in the race, the other one supported them and at least got the result that the team needed. So, yeah, it's fairly important to have 2 strong drivers for your team.
It is, and that's going to be something that we saw a season ago as well. Not from season 7, but from season 6, so technically 2 seasons ago. I have to get used to saying that now. We saw that with McLaren. They had a pretty much dominant campaign in their, well, actually, when it was then 6 tiers, they had pretty much the highest average points per tier of any other team. Alfa Romeo follows suit and actually goes one better, winning 3 out of the 4, which, by the way, they had a chance to win the Tier 3 title, which they actually did on track. Well, for countback, with a little bit of an issue that was with the points, it actually was determined that they had the exact same points, level on points, with Mercedes. Well, that went to a countback. Wins, exact same. It went to second places, exact same, factoring in the 2 drivers, which was actually myself and Goose Layer, who actually was out, and then back in, and then, all that kind of good stuff to have there. Mercedes had 1 more second place than Alfa Romeo. That's what won them that Constructors' Championship. So it went down to the wire again. That's actually been 2 seasons in a row we've had a title determined by countback or by stewarding in Tier 3. So let's hope we can have another great one in Season 8. Myself, it's been highly anticipated because there's a lot of quick drivers joining the league, but it's not all we have in the league. Obviously, on the right-hand side, you see Realistic in Formula 2. On side of Port winning that. I believe that's now his 2nd straight, with Minico obviously winning the Realistic Championship with that highly, highly anticipated fight between McLaren, Mercedes, and Red Bull that went down to the final round as well with 3 teams. Mercedes got the lucky hat from that one.
Yeah, we don't normally see that just in real racing itself to have the constructors battle that involves 3 teams on the final race. So that was kind of cool to experience, being the fact that we both commentated that.
Yeah. That indeed, and well, on the other hand, the flip of the coin, I should really say, Virtuosi in Formula 2 had the exact opposite fortune in Formula 2. They had a lead that was rivaled by none. They were 100 points or so minimum by the midway part of the season ahead of the next constructor. They put on a clinic in F2.
Indeed, they did. I participated at the back end part of F2, and yeah, they were gone. just fair to say.
Yeah, it was inside of Port and Taylor Clan who was piloting that Virtuosi Alpine-colored Virtuosi, I should say, to be more specific. But we've waited long enough to start Season 8, which kicks off this Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which actually has been moved back to 9 because we had a little... I'm sorry. No, I was right the first time. Don't listen to me. Actually, do listen to me, but give me a second. All right.
We moved.
Yeah, we moved. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Formula 2. But speaking of Formula 2, let's see who's taking part in Formula 2. We have some changes this season on both drivers and the actual formatting role as well. Here's Formula 2 for Season 8. You can see the likes of Kieran Evan, Max Senna, Taylor Clan hoping to fight back once again, probably go and try to get one better than he was a season ago. He got second of the drivers. He can try to go one better. With Carbon inside of port, he's not going to be the reigning drivers champion from F2. He wants to go and try and recuperate and do that again. Feta, Yeet Doggo, Slayer, Days, Urban, Lewis Fan, Hoopalicious, KP21, Ferrari Nut, Mumu, Slayer, Blackwater, and Sanchez.
Interesting list. Couple of guys that we have seen in some top tiers from last season joining, so hopefully it'll be competitive in Formula 2. With it's a completely different car than the F1 car, I can tell you that much.
It's difficult, but it's rewarding to drive if you get it right. And
it's fun.
We'll be hoping he can get it right this season as well. So let's see how that plays out. But there's actually some changes, like I said. Let's get into them. For Formula 2, in Season 8, we have a couple new changes. First one is a new coordinator, Cam, which I actually don't think he was on that list.
No, he's not.
Well, there you go. He's a new coordinator. He's going to be racing as well, so that's actually a little bit of our mistake on our end. Our apologies. But we have a new start time. Obviously, last season it was 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now it's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But there's also a new race format. Last season it was 1 sprint, a feature, but now it's going to be the 2 sprints and a feature that we see in the 2021, now 2022 Formula 2 Championship. But the biggest one, and a lot of you are probably going to be questioning this one, it's not streamed. That's going to be something we've seen the last couple of seasons. The drivers dwindled. The commentating dwindled. Not enough interest. So far, to start the Formula 2 calendar in Season 8, it's not going to be streamed. So that can be changed with interest, as you see in the parentheses right there. But that's a big talking point, especially for guys that want to see the Formula 2 Championship. You may have to go and watch Twitch of the drivers that are streaming that event itself.
Well, I guess the big change of 2 sprints in the future would also be basically a longer race session for those drivers as well. So it'll be interesting to see how that transpires for Season 8. Yeah,
it'll be interesting indeed, because obviously you have that 2 sprint format and a feature race on top of that 1-shot qualifying. So it's roughly about 10 to 15 minutes longer compared to last season. So that would be something to look out for. The drivers now have more opportunities to grab points, but they also have technically more races to do so. And that's going to be something to look out for this season as well.
Yep, yes, indeed.
So next up, it's the first streamed event of Season 8 that will be taking place on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Realistic Performance. Let's take a look at the drivers for their season championship and the Realistic Performance Championship. We have some changes there as well, mostly with the drivers. You can see them here.
Let's see, it's quite a big list, but it's a very familiar list with some new guys in there. Prime example, we've seen Chandler in there. We've seen Hoop Race and Realistic, same with Bailey and Mumu, but Supply is new. Trying to see who else is that just doesn't. Skeppy is new. I hadn't seen him last season or maybe the season before. So, yep, it's a good mix.
It is a good mix indeed.
Yeah. KP21. There's some names here that I think I have seen prior, but there are some new ones that I have not noticed. Veyron might be one. We had our defending champion Miniko. So Phantom, who won Tier 4 last year. I think we have all 4 of the tier champions from last year in this, do we?
Gary is not, and
Gary. Okay, yeah, those 2. Forgive me, there's a lot of names.
There is a lot of names, and there's 2 of them. Actually, they're back-to-back. You see in the second row, Miniko and Taylor, they're the only 2 drivers' championships of the Realistic Performance history. Taylor won the first 2. Miniko was the first one to break the cycle a season ago, so he's going to try to go and will defend his championship the best he can. Maybe not, maybe so. He doesn't really know where he's going to go. None of these drivers know where they're going to go because the season will be drastically different by the time we see on track in Bahrain in a week's time at Thursday, and it's going to be some you're going to want to watch. That race to kick off the streamed events of the Season 8 calendar. Speaking of the calendar, let's take a look at where we're going in Season 8 for F1 and F2. You can see it right here. Bahrain, Imola, Portugal, Azerbaijan, Canada, the United Kingdom, the Belgium, Netherlands, Monza, Japan, US, Mexico, and Brazil. 13 rounds, 2 break weeks over the course of 15 weeks. That's going to be a shorter calendar than we saw a season ago. 11 rounds to be exact. It's almost like we cut the calendar in half.
Yeah, I was about to say it is cut in half because last season was 24 races, so now it's 13, which kind of makes it more important to have really good races because there's now less chances to get a good result for points. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out going forward this season.
And by the way, speaking of Formula 2, there's also a new calendar for them as well. No longer will they be following the F1 calendar because, well, that's 13 rounds as well as 3 races per round. I'd rather not do the math. That's well over 36 races itself, and that's not going to be something that drivers are going to be like, oh, yes, let's do 37 rounds a season. So they're doing a 7-round calendar, starting from Bahrain to go to Portugal, Canada, Belgium, then going to the Monza, United States, and then going to Brazil for the season finale. And you can tune into that because it breaks every week. And hopefully by Brazil, we could have it streamed to see the season finale of the Formula 2 Championship. But, well, we've waited enough. We can't stall any longer. It's time to talk about the equal performance tiers in the Breakout Racing League for Season 8. It's going to be something that has been anticipated for a while. I've talked about it a little bit earlier, how I said that a lot of drivers have influxed the league compared to a season ago. A lot of quick ones have joined in at the top end of the tiers. It's going to spice up the tiering because we also have a new placement method. No longer do we have the just go as fast as you can. If you get into a specific place bracket, I'm sorry, but you have to remove certain assists. No. Now we have something different, a new format, hopefully bringing the races closer and bringing the drivers to more action-packed events, hopefully to spice up the streams as well to see we can have a lot better of a season. We had a really good season, so it's going to be hard to top. We can see we can do it. But let's start off with the first tier that we're going to do. It has a new start time. It starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time compared to last season. Tier 4 Xbox. Here are their drivers.
Yeah.
C1. Hey, you're on here.
Yeah, Caesar's returned after not being in it last year. Yeah, a bunch of normal guys, Butters, James B from Tier 4 last year, Henchman, well, I think Henchman was actually in Tier 3 or 2. I can't remember.
He was in Tier 4 last season. He got 13th in the standings.
Okay. There's so many names. But yeah, I see one in particular with me and myself. So I'll be doing that Friday nights, and that's going to be fun. Why not?
Be fun indeed. It's a earlier start time. We're now going from Tier 4 at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time compared to where it was a season ago, where it was at 10 p.m. So 2 hours earlier. That'll be a little bit better for the viewers as well. You can see guys like Sprightly's back, and you can see guys like James B, Butters, obviously Slow and Steady. You can see, obviously, Fry's back, Henchman. You can see Bald Guy Racing. He's back once again. Carbon, Corny, and
Wavy.
Well, and Wavy as well. He's remember from him a couple of seasons ago. But you see the 20 drivers: Hungry Camden, Sprightly, Quick Tongue, Titan, Urban, James B, Butters, Caesar, Underdog, yourself, Bois, Slow and Steady, Flanders, Mixer, Unknown, Frizy, Henchman, Dakotix, Gluzzy, Wavy, and Bald Guy, all the active full-time drivers with Wrathful, Carbon, Corny, Reptile, Days, and Arabian reserving for the tier. 26 total drivers, 20 full-time. That's going to be a really, well, high-action season, and there's no champions in this tier, so we'll have a completely new champion. That'll be something to look out for.
Yep, we'll see what happens at the end of race 13 to see who prevails.
And that'll be something to look out for as well. But let's now go up to, now it's at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and swap positions with Tier 4, Tier 3 Xbox. And it's going to be something to look out for, because I said earlier on, the last 2 seasons have been absolutely dramatic. The last 2 championships, and the drivers in Season 6 and the constructors in Season 7 going down to the final event. Actually, the drivers went down to both final events in both rounds, but the constructors last season went down to a countback. That's how close Tier 3 has been. Hopefully we can do it again, because it's the only one with 2 active champions. Phantom and Gary return. This time, Phantom to Tier 3. Gary is going to try to defend his championship. You can see the likes of him. You can see Ron Swanson going to try again. He was 1 position short. Can he go and bring that championship home this time? You can see guys like Goose Slayer's back, Kieran. You can see Bad Bunny, Potato Stig, Yeet Doggo. Kieran Evans is back again, Whiffy. And you can see Redeemer and Groggy, both new to the tier. It's a lot of list of names.
Yeah, there's a handful of drivers from Tier 4 that were promoted. Johan Lohr, Phantom, Redeemer. Those were from Tier 4. Valkyrie, I believe, was from Tier 4. That's a reserve. Same with Shredder. So, yeah, a handful of guys from Tier 4 here. And I believe also Stig. I believe he was Tier 4. So, yeah, kind of a good mix of some current blood with like guys like Ron and Gary with some new blood. So, interesting to see.
Yes, it will. And, well, you see the 20 drivers on the left. The 7 reserves, 27 in the tier. Yo, Snowman, Solar, Shazam, Goofy, Shredder, Valkyrie, and Palm Tree reserving for the tier. It's going to be, once again, high stakes in this tier with 2 tier champions. Phantom from tier 4 a season ago, Gary from tier 3 a season ago, and Ron was oh so close to grabbing himself the championship from Gary a season ago. So there's a lot of contenders and a lot of drivers that could put on a show in tier 3. But now it's down to the final 2 tiers. We transfer to Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, like it was a season ago. It's time for tier 2 Xbox for their rosters of this season, and it's going to be, once again, a highly anticipated season. Now we're going to see a lot of drivers you probably saw from a season ago, and you're going to be wondering, how will this season go? It's going to be high stakes, high action, high intensity, and some quickness all around. Here's the roster from tier 2 Xbox, topped by Drix.
Yep. And I see a name here as well. You're in this. Oh, we're not going to talk about it? Okay.
Yeah, we do talk about it. Drix, Danny, Rick, you can see those guys from tier 1 a season ago. You can see Heatwave's back again. Boss Cookie, you've seen him all around from tier 1 as well a season ago, as well as Realistic Performance. Mozzie, Toneless, Dad's Active, ECSR, Ferrari, Bayron, all returning drivers. No Limit as well. Miniko back to tier 2. You see No One FinFan and Fast AT. They were in tier 1 a season ago. Now they're back to tier 2. You can see Crusade Ethab. That's the name. He was back to tier 2 from a couple of seasons ago. He was there in season 5. Ardell, new to tier 2. Wraith is back again. Could he go and try to take a championship? His 2 drivers he was battling, that being Gerbil and Sweller, not here. You can see Unsighted Port, both him and Lurkin Shamrock from tier 1 a season ago. Once again, Quick, Mean Fern, and myself, Skeppy, Foge, DXC, Shigo, Shamrock, and Port. That list, 7 drivers, the reserves, 27 in the tier.
Yeah, very nice. So, so you're a reserve. Okay. My screen on my end is different from the actual screen, so I couldn't see exactly where you're placed out. But yeah, kind of interesting list here. We got guys like Ardell back in here from, he was in tier 3. And then we got some guys that were kind of here last season, like Miniko, that went to tier 1, that are now back in here to tier 2. So we kind of have a really good mix here. Yeah, be fun.
It would be fun indeed. And by the way, the biggest story in all of this, you can probably see it underneath Miniko, Slayer, that driver from tier 4 a season ago, the Alpine. That could be improvement up to tier 2. That's an amazing job from him.
He really finished strong, in my opinion, last season. So yeah, I'm interested to see what Slayer can do. I was going to say this for tier 3. Guys like Johan Lara, he finished the season strong. So see if what they can do, going into this next season.
Speaking of the next season, it's going to be Lewis Fan indeed. He's back. He was here a couple seasons ago. Had a little bit of a hiatus for college and university studies. He's back. That'll be fun to see as well. He's now full-time as well.
Good.
But now, it's the moment that you've mostly all been waiting for. Tier 1 Xbox. You could probably already tell who's there off of the process of elimination. But the most anticipated tier, the most anticipated championship, it's back again. Some quick names, some very quick names. We have a pair of champions as well. And you can pretty much guess who they are. Tier 1, who's going to be battling for that championship? We'll find out in a second. More like right now. You see the guys, Chandler, Hoopalicious, Vizzy, Jack, Luciano, Alphanesis, Bailey, returning champion, Ryan, returning champion. And is that PSR Burraps I see?
Yeah, it is.
This tier will be spicy. It's going to be quick. And I cannot wait myself.
Yeah, this one has some common names in here, like Mumu, Deer, Bailey, the defending champion. Feta Cheese is back. That's good. Hoop, but also some new ones. Luciano, Alphanese, was he tier 1? Yeah, okay.
Yes, he was.
It's amazing what you forget in 2 weeks with being an off week. I won't lie. But yeah, I think this is really going to be an exciting championship for tier 1.
I cannot wait.
I think it's going to go down to the wire.
It very much can. Could we see a battle between Chandler? Could we see a battle between him, Busy, Jack? Hoopalicious, could he throw his hat in? He almost won the championship a season ago. He was 1 spot short, which turned out to be 2 whenever Chandler got him at the line. Technically, not theoretically at the line, not really. I mean, Chandler went home to pass him the championship for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. That race really didn't go well for Hopelicious, but it was also a season that really shows how well these drivers can battle with each other. Well, now, again, it's actually the tier with the most returning drivers from a season ago. A lot of these guys will know how each other race, but there's now some influx of new drivers in there as well. 6 drivers that are reserves, 26 in total. It's going to be a very good championship, and I cannot wait for it myself. The Tier 1 for the Breakout Racing League Season 8 campaign. I cannot wait. I keep reiterating it, but I'm excited for this tier.
I'm excited actually for this because with 13 races, there's not going to be much room for error. So you're going to see all these drivers fight for every point that they can get. One thing that I hope for all tiers is no one has any sort of wheel glitches and stuff like that that affected a couple of drivers in last season's championship. So good luck to you guys that had those issues. Hopefully they don't continue.
That's going to be something that may be a talking point as well in the championship that is going to be so close as this one. Every millisecond counts.
I won't lie if I'm worried because I have one of those wheels.
I do as well. Let's hope that doesn't occur. But one thing to talk about is the assist restrictions for the tier. It's always a talking point. Here's it for this one. Tier 1, no assist. Racing line for Tier 2. ABS, medium traction control, and racing line for Tier 3 with ABS, medium, racing line, and automatic gearing for Tier 4.
Interesting. Who would automatic gearing? That's a new one.
So now, by the way, with the new implications we've had, these assists that you signed up with, that these drivers had applied to, is actually going to apply to the Realistic Performance Championship as well, as that would be directly affected. And that's going to be something that will be a talking point as well. No more controversial things that you've heard definitely in the parties and the podium interviews, I could definitely say, from the later half of the Realistic Performance Championship. No more ABS for drivers that, well, they were claimed to be faster than that. No more unnecessary assists that they didn't run in the first place. All those chats thrown out the window. This is what they have.
Yep, you get to finish what you start with.
Well, speaking of finishing, that pretty much wraps it up from us here for the tier reveal for the Breakout Racing League Season 8 campaign. And it's been one that is going to be talked about for a little bit to come because the first round of the season comes this week. You can see it on Twitch, the Breakout Racing League Twitch right here. On Thursday is when it kicks off for the Realistic at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then we have it. Tier 4 at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday, followed by Tier 3 at 10. Then on Saturday, we have Tier 2, I should rather say, at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Tier 1 2 hours later at 10. But don't get a little bit ahead of ourselves. Tomorrow, we have Round 1 for ACC, the Espada Corsa Competizione League. Kicks back off, and they're Round 1 at the Kyalami Grand Prix in South Africa. Make sure to tune into that on the Breakout Racing League Twitch right here. This time at 7 p.m. It's going to be spicy. It's going to be great. I've already heard a level of drivers are definitely excited for this one. You can probably ask Skeppy yourself. He is definitely going to be one that cannot wait for this race to start. He wants it to start now. He wishes it was Sunday, and this was not the stream he was turning into. But no, he has to wait one more day. But you guys should tune in to that as well, because that'll be a great race to tune into. And it's going to be something that is going to be anticipated, much like this season. So thanks again. Once again, my name is Catcher, journal alongside Bois, for one time to start the season off. Let's hope many more to come.
Yeah, indeed.
So then, thank you for tuning in. We would like to say a good night, or good morning, good evening. We don't really care. We just hope you have a good day. Thank you for tuning in.